Oyagala okumanya ebiriwo, ebyaliwo, oba ebigenda okubaawo. Program Tambula n'okumanya eggose. Tambula n'okumanya ku MUYOMBA ne Royal FM. Tambula n'okumanya.
Today I want to tell you something about a man called Kagame. Kagame's hatred for Baganda, Banyankole and Uganda at large, plus the greed for power, drove him to presidency and later Monger. Kagame, the current president of Rwanda today, developed the urge for power from his early days, and this caused him problems even when he was still in school. Who is Kagame? Kagame was born in current southern province of Rwanda on 23rd October 1957. He is ethnically a Mutusi. His father, Deogratius Rutagambwa, belonged to the minority Tutsi royal family that dominantly ruled Rwanda for centuries until the majority Hutus and the minority Twas revolted in 1959. Kagame's mother, Esteri Bisinda, also a Mututsi, belonged to the last queen lineage of Rwanda. The revolution of 1959 led to the exile of Kagame's parents to Uganda, and at first they settled in Shungerezi refugee camp in Toro region. It is during this time that Kagame first met Rwigema, with whom they later became very good friends. Kagame's education career. Kagame started his early education at a primary near the refugee camp where they had settled, but later, at the age of 9 years, he joined Rwengoro Primary School, one of the best schools in the area then. However, he had to walk a distance of 16 kilometers to reach the school. After his primary education, Kagame joined the entire school, which was one of the most respected schools in Uganda at that time. In the early 70s, Kagame's father died, and during that time, again, they parted with Rwigema. At that time, Kagame developed the urge to fight whoever he thought despised the Rwandese in Uganda. This kind of hatred at times resulted into brutality, which led to his expulsion from the school. So, after he was expelled in the school, Kagame ran to Kampala. While in Kampala, he joined Old Kampala SS, and he completed his secondary school education from there. After his education, Kagame visited Rwanda 2 times, and on each occasion, he was using different border points. In 1977, he went through Katuna border on the side of Uganda, And in 1978, he visited Rwanda through Zaire border points. On both occasions, while in Rwanda, Kagame met some of his relatives, but in secrecy, and all along he was keeping a low profile while there. Kagame's military career. In 1978, Kagame reunited with his early childhood friend Rwigema after a very long time, and the two joined Museveni's Fronasa rebel group to fight Idi Amin's government in Uganda. The Fronasa, with Tanzania's army and other Ugandan exiled groups, including Obote, Yusuf Lule, Paulo Muwanga, and others, ousted Amin's government in 1979. During that time, Museveni became a minister in the transitional government of UNLF. Kagame, with other Rwandese exiles, pledged allegiance to Museveni. This gave them a chance to receive formal and professional military training from within and abroad. Kagame received his military training in Kansas in the United States of America. In 1980, after the general election in Uganda, which was won by Obote, and Museveni claimed to have been rigged, Kagame was one of the founding soldier members with whom Museveni lodged a bush war in 1980. Kagame and Museveni, remember, in 1981, went to fight Obote, not to liberate Uganda as it is proclaimed. Their primary goal was to acquire military experience that would enable them to return to Rwanda and fight the Habyarimana government so as to see Hutus back into power. In 1986, when the NRA rebel group of Museveni overthrew the Obote II government, Kagame was among the 500 Rwandan refugees in Museveni's army. Museveni grew Kagame and Rwigema to senior officers up to the rank of head of military intelligence. This resulted in suspicion from within and on the international scene. Museveni overheard it and probably felt it, so he demoted the duo. The demotion gave the two time to seriously start plans of going back to Rwanda and fight Habyarimana with their fellow Rwandan refugees, mainly Tutsis. At this time, they joined an organization called Rwanda Patriotic Front, RPF, which was a rebel group that had been fighting the Rwanda government for a long time. Eventually, given their ranks in the army, they became its leaders. In 1994, Rwigema, with about 4,000 rebels, invaded Rwanda through Kagitumba border. But at the time, Kagame was in the US attending the Command and General Staff College in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Rwigema was killed on the second day by his own sub-commanders, Peter Bayingana and Chris Bunyenyezi. It is said that it was due to an argument about the tactics to be followed when attacking, though it is proclaimed that Bayingana and Bunyenyezi were later killed on the orders of Yoweri Museveni Some more analysts like Kaplani and Pruna argued that their killers could have been the recruits of Paulo Kagame. As a result of Rwigema's death, Kagame immediately turned to Africa and took over leadership of the RPF, but it had thinned to about only 2,000 men in combat, and so Kagame decided to make a reorg. In 1991, Kagame restarted the attack through the town of Ruhengeri on the border side of Rwanda. From there, they went on with a hit and run tactic. This resulted into the death of so many people, and mainly Hutus. The genocide in Rwanda. You cannot talk about the genocide in Rwanda in the early 1990s and miss out the name of Paulo Kagame. When the war escalated between Kagame's rebels and the then Rwanda government forces, soldiers on both sides forgot what they were supposed to do and instead resorted to massacring innocent people on the basis of ethnicity. The rebels, dominated by Tutsis, killed the Wananchi Hutus as the government forces were killing all the minority Tutsis. All this was done in the name of Paulo Kagame. Although many peace talks were held in Arusha, Tanzania, involving East African leaders and United Nations officials and delegates, with the intentions of forming a coalition government, Kagame eventually took over power after the death of President Habyarimana, whose aircraft was shot down near Rwanda airport, and also President Cyprien Ntaryamira of Burundi was killed in 1994. Although some analysts put the Habyarimana killing on Hutu extremists who never wanted the coalition government, many said that it was the handiwork of Paulo Kagame. As a result, a genocide ensued in Rwanda that took lives of over 800 people, mostly Tutsis and moderate Hutus. It was said that about 4,000 people were killed by soldiers in Kibeko Senior Secondary School in Butare Province in a random shooting. Ever since Kagame became president in 2000, he has organized only 2 general elections, and both he has been emerging victorious with a landslide win. However, none of them has ever been declared free and fair by international observers. Kagame's family. Kagame married his wife Janeti Nyiramongi in 1989 on 20th June. They have 4 children. Their elder daughter, Anje Kagame Ndegei Ngoma, followed by Ayani Kagame, Ivan Simoro Kagame, and Brian Kagame. His first son, Ayani Kagame, is an army officer now, to the rank of lieutenant. But he was sneaked into the defense of Presidential Guard only 3 months after his military training. Hypocritically, it is said that Kagame only speaks 3 languages, that is Nyarwanda, English, and French. So one wonders how he can fail to speak Luganda, Runyankole, the languages spoken where he grew as a child and where he had his education primary and advanced. It is a clear show that Kagame does not want to talk about anything concerning Baganda or Banyankole, what and hatred. Should we take Kagame to be a warmonger, or we shouldn't? Kagame provided troops and military training to the Banyamulenge Tutsis in Zaire, rebels to fight Zaire. These troops attacked the refugee camps of the Hutus who had settled in Zaire and displaced them with many deaths. Even Kagame's Rwanda army attacked refugees in Mugunga refugee camp, displaced over 800,000 people, where many of them again died. As if that was not enough, in 1996, Kagame, in conjunction with Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni, supported the ADFL rebels and eventually took power in 1997 when the long-serving President Mobutu Sese Seko Wazabanga was forced out of his country. Kabila took over power and all along was gaining support from Kagame's RPF who were controlling Kinshasa. But Kabila did not stay long in good terms with Kagame because he chucked his chief of staff James Kabarebe, a Rwandese, in 1998. They broke out and Kagame again started another war raid on DRC. Again, this led to the ousting of Kabila. Ever since, DRC is still in wars, war after war, and each of the wars are said to be supported by Kagame. Not only that, but Kagame still broke out with his godfather, Yoweri Museveni, in 2020, and Kagame put an embargo to Uganda and refused Uganda merchandise to enter Rwanda, another side of Kagame. Kagame and sports. Kagame wins world attention through sports, mainly football. He won the Confederation of African Football Outstanding Achievement Award of 2022. And also, in March 2023, hosted a delegation from FIFA Congress, and he was among the team that played against the FIFA team in the delegation football tournament. Kagame supports his home team, the MATOVU, to an extent that it reached the Africa Cup of Nations finals in 2004. Kagame also sponsors the annual Sekafa Cup to a tune of over $60,000 every year as prize money, and because of this, the tournament is named after his name, Kagame Cup. The achievements of Kagame that we can talk of: Kagame meandered to presidency in 2000, from being a deputy and a defense minister in the coalition government, which was then led by Bizimungu from 1994. Kagame has at some level managed to narrow the gap between the Hutus and the Tutsis. He has integrated former Hutu soldiers and appointed some of them in senior positions in the army. Kagame has managed to win 2 electoral presidential elections. He also maneuvered to twist the constitution in 2015 and won massively in a referendum to rule for another 7-year term, and also allowed to stand for more 2 terms of 5 years each in office if he so wishes. Economically, Kagame has tried to build the economy of the country, developing the agricultural sector, putting up industries, but still the masses in the grassroots are still very poor. That is Paul Kagame,